What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Riverdale Season 6, Episode 9. And it's called Chapter 104, The Serpent Queen's Gambit.
And don't forget, guys, stick around for the ending of the podcast. We're going to go through our recap roundups, some of your recap roundups. It's going to be a good time. Stick around for the end for that.
And as always, to our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into this episode. Yes.
What did you think?
I thought it was good. I think there was a lot of things that happened this episode, like a lot of things moving, a lot of things that I was really happy happened this episode, because I think I was originally complaining about things like they slow it out and like they pace it out really slow, but everything that I wanted kind of happened this episode. So I was actually really happy about it. How about you?
Yeah, 100% agreed. I think just listening to what people are saying online too, everyone was really happy with the episode. I mean, just doing our recap roundups, I found it quite hard because I was like, I don't know what to even choose because there were so many things I like that stood out to me. I was like, it's really hard to choose one moment. I was impressed with the episode. I didn't watch the Queen's Gambit. I know you said you didn't either, so I don't know if there were any pulls to the actual TV show. If you guys are listening and you guys saw anything, let us know in the comments. It might just be another RAS attempt to just clickbait and just use a title and whatever. I enjoyed it. I don't know really what's happening with the veggie storyline. I think that's sort of my ending sort of takeaway is like, I like everything else. I don't get what's happening with veggie.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I guess we'll get to
talk about it and see what the situation is.
Yeah.
All right. So it starts right off with Archie getting home from like a run or whatever. And Frank is talking to Percival in the living room or in the kitchen. And Archie's already pissed. He's like, get this guy out of my house. And it turns out that Percival wants to do a census. He wants to go like door by door and see what problems are happening with the town. And Archie, because he doesn't trust him, all this other stuff, he kicks him out. And Frank kind of gets upset with him. He's like, I'm disappointed in you, Archie. He really wants to help the town. And then Archie kind of takes it in this moment, and he doesn't tell him anything past like that he doesn't trust him.
Yeah.
Again, it's something that I think I talked about with Macy. It's like, why are the adults not being like, why aren't they like involved in the whole situation? Like, why doesn't Frank know? Why doesn't
and
Alice
why don't they question
Percival?
anything? Like,
I mean, it's fair because like at the end of the day, like you get this sweet talking guy who just wants to fix the town. Like as an older generation person, you just like, I just want to fix the town. Like it makes sense, but at the same time, like Archie has the knowledge, he has information that he's just not sharing at this point. And I'm just like, why are you,
especially why not Frank? Like, why not tell Frank, right?
Exactly.
Like, to me, it just seems none of this makes sense because Alice, you literally saw this town like almost burned to the ground. You saw how many crazy people came to this town out of nowhere claiming to be whoever, and they were like a serial killer. So for you to open your arms to this random ass dude and be like, yes, come on our council, yes, fire Tony who's been living here her entire life. So like, it is a very shocking reaction. Like, I'm like, guys, can any adult question who this person is? Or you guys just not gonna care?
That's the part that I don't really understand. I'm really frustrated with that whole part of the storyline. And as we keep going through it, I'm still kind of frustrated.
Like, at least question him. You know what I mean? Like, even if they liked him, it's fine. But like, no one's even saying like, where did you come from? Like who do you know that was like here before? Like they asked him that, but like he just like he could lie easily. I just wish there was a little bit more like investigative work.
But then I guess at the same time, like he's persuading them.
I guess
he has like mind control powers.
Oh, true.
And, like, really like pushing them to feel some type of way about things. Like we don't really know.
So okay, so do you think he is mind swaying everyone in town except for like the core three?
I mean, I think so. And we can talk about that a little bit more when they go on their kind of like they go and check in on all their people to see how everybody's doing. But yeah, I think for the most part, he's really just going in and swaying everybody's mind at the same time. And pushing his own personal agenda by doing that, right?
Yeah. So, first of all, I just want to say really quickly here, I got to the end of the episode and I was like hating on Kevin. And I'm like, oh wait, was he persuaded by Percival? Like here I am thinking it was Kevin's own doing all of this. And I'm like, oh, maybe he was persuaded.
But at the same time, I mean, I think I just hate
But that's
Kevin,
how much we hate Kevin.
I'm just like, I'm so over him and him. even him getting swayed, I hate him. You
But
know
that's
what I
the thing,
mean?
like that's how much
I
we
don't
hate
get
Kevin that like we're like, no, he would have done this on his
he
own
would have done this
merit.
anyway. Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, I think that's the reality is like when you look at Kevin's character, you're just like, okay, fine, you're just being a busybody
Yeah.
and like an annoying person. It could
So
totally
funny.
be that he just decides to do that on his own. Anyway, super, super annoying about that whole situation. Let's keep talking about. So as this happens, Frank is disappointed in Archie, blah, blah, blah. Really quick shout out to the builders of the house. Like 2 episodes ago, this place was in shambles, and now like the whole house is like back to
True.
normal. I was like, okay, we're just gonna like get right into the fact that like it's
HGTV, come
perfectly
on.
fine. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, so then it cuts to Cheryl / Abigail and Britta, and they're at Thomasina's grave. And essentially she says, the blood moon is coming and it's a perfect time to do a soul swap. I'm going to take Tony's body and switch it with Thomasina's soul and put it into Tony's body so we can be together forever. Blah, blah, blah. That's the situation.
Yeah.
And then Britt is still obviously very nervous about the whole situation. She's like, is that all like you want to do? And Abigail goes on to say, no, I still want to go after Archie, Jughead, and Betty. Like they're still like my nemesis. Like I still want to kill them too.
Sorry,
So,
at the end of
Britt is
last
worried.
week's episode,
Mhm.
doesn't Cheryl come back?
She's back, but she's still in the body. Like her soul is still.
Oh, so it's like kind of going back and forth.
No, yeah, I think that when she visits her in her dream, she's basically saying like I'm free from like my own prison. Like
but she's not out yet.
But she's not out yet.
Got
so
it. Okay.
At the end of that part, she basically says like I don't know how to get my body back. Right
Okay,
now.
got it. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So Britta doesn't really know what to do at that point in time. Anyway, cuts to Veronica and Reggie in the morning at the Pembroke, and Reggie's dad. Turns out that Reggie's dad wants to go visit the casino, and he basically just wants to feel like a big shot. Like Reggie's like, you know, like give him a good time. And Veronica's like, honestly, don't worry. That sounds amazing. Like, leave it with me. I'll show him a good time. Don't worry about it.
Can I just ask you real quick right here? In Riverdale, how did Reggie's dad die?
That's a good question. I don't remember.
Was it a heart attack or something?
I feel like he just died of a heart attack.
Yeah.
I think he was just like dead. Yeah. I don't think that there was anything extreme that happened on screen. Like I don't think we even saw him.
No,
in Riverdale.
I don't know.
So yeah,
Okay.
I don't think that he existed in that.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly though. Let us know in the comments if you remember exactly, because it feels like it's been like 2 years since we've seen that part of the season. So cuts back to the council meeting, and Percival talks about like he's like, I got all this information now, and turns out that everyone is now worried about the gang violence. And he goes to look straight at Tony and says like, do you have anything to say? And Tony essentially has to defend herself and says, you know, there's currently no issues about this, and this. Like, you know, we're trying to figure things out with the ghoulies right now. We're in talks with like the leader. And Percival asks if she's ever considered disbanding the Serpents. And that's when Tabitha interjects and she's like, honestly, Tony's not on trial right now. So like back the F off. And I kind of like just want to shout out to the fact that they have Tony and Tabitha basically backing each other up in this like white town of people who basically look at them and they're like, you're trash. So I love that Tabitha is there to lift her sister up. You know, I think that was a really good moment, but obviously that's not the end of all their shit that they have to do with this episode. And then at the very end of the council meeting, that's when Kevin comes in to drop off baby Anthony to Fangs and Tony. And he kind of makes a little statement basically saying that he's concerned for his upbringing in a gang. And Fangs and Tony turn to him and they're like, what are you talking about? Like, I was a serpent growing up. Fangs was a serpent growing up. Like, what are you talking about? And Kevin's like, I'm not here to like fight you. I'm just here to like tell you my perspective. And anyway, it was again going back to what you were saying, like, is he persuaded? Is he not persuaded? Is his point valid? I'm sure to a degree his
by the
point
end
is valid,
he was kind of,
but at the same time I'm like, you don't really know because you're not a gang member, you're not a part of that world, and you're not a part of whether or not these people can be successful in raising a child. So get the fuck out of here, go to Broadway. Like, now you can go, now you can leave, like we don't need you here anymore. Anyway, he really fucking annoyed me this episode. Anyways, cut
We're
into the
about to pop
casino.
off.
The pop off of fucking Kevin. Casino. Veronica is walking around Mr. Mantle and she drops him off at a table. She's like, this is the best one.
Mhm.
Check it out. Have a good time. And she thinks like her job is done. She's like, yes, like my man's man is like over there, whatever. Cool. Cuts back to the El Royale, and Archie is talking to Betty and Jughead after the whole town meeting, and they're talking about Percival. So this is the first time I guess we get to see them all on screen, basically talking about the fact that they're all they all have superpowers, and that Percival might have some weird supervillain power as well.
By the way, I absolutely loved every single scene with Jughead, Betty, and Archie.
With the
like
three of them,
it took me back to the beginnings. Like it took me back to season 1. It was just like them against the world. I just really, really enjoyed having them on screen.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not the core 4 because Veronica wasn't really a part of it, but like still, they're just magic when they're on screen together. Like there's a very good chemistry. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, you want to root for them and like whatever they're doing, they're trying to save her.
And the fact that like the whole romantic thing doesn't really come up. Like the fact that like Jug doesn't look at Betty and Archie in a weird way. He doesn't he doesn't have moments where he's like it's just like a friend like group. Like there's no weird cool. like feelings. Yeah,
for sure. So they're talking, and one of the main questions, which I guess all of us are asking the same question, is like, what does Percival really want from the town? What is his main end goal? Like, why does he want to sway people?
Like, does he have good intentions? Does he have bad intentions?
Exactly. So Jughead devises the idea that maybe we should all talk to our friends or close people and make sure that they're not turning them to his
Great
side.
idea.
Great idea. But you probably should have started with Frank and Alice, maybe. You know, like that's the thing that made me the most annoyed, is like, we should do our own surveying and make sure that we have the right people in our pockets and make sure that we're trying to slow down whatever crazy thing he's trying to do. I'm like, literally Frank and Alice are on the council, so they should be
it's almost
top
like
priority.
It's almost like they gave up on them. They're like, forget it. Like they're not going to be swayed. Let's go try to like find like our crew and like convince our crew. But that's what I know. That's what I'm saying. Like it's just.
And that's the thing. It's just like, I know, like even when I was talking to Macy about it, she was like, you know, usually you as a superhero, you don't like tell everybody your secret when you have that power. But I'm like, but they're Alice and Frank, and you telling your secret is less important than you trying to save the town from a supervillain who's swaying people with his mind.
And
like, come on.
Let's just like take account of like who Frank even is. You've been in this town for like 5 seconds. You left your whole life and now you came back and now you have like this huge, crazy important seat on like the town council. Alice, you're like a crazy ass mofo. Like what are like, you look at these two people and like the town's like, yes, they're gonna run our town.
We need that.
Like
you're the one to
save
us.
This idiot Sheriff Keller on the other side. Like you guys are like the Dumb and Dumbers of like the town council. Like how does anyone even trust failures? Like the fact that the town is looking to them to like lead them in the right direction. And then it kills me. I'll talk about this later too. Kills me because like Tony gets up with like the receipts of like everything she's done. And everyone's no, we're gonna stick with the mom who tried to kill herself and her babies and like went to a farm and like the guy that like left town 20 years ago.
100%. Like that's, I don't understand how they're all anyway. And that's
we
what
could
I
get
mean.
into
it's
it later,
like,
but
unless they're villains, it's hard for me to believe that if they didn't just talk to them, they would have resolved this a little bit faster. But obviously the writers didn't want them to go that direction, which is annoying to me because then why are you even surveying anybody? Why are you talking to Veronica? She's not even on the council. She doesn't
you know what? She was quite helpful though. I totally get what you're saying, but like, like I'm like, at least she was helpful because I'm like, like if she had nothing, look, if they didn't even go to Veronica this episode, I would have been like, guys, there's something wrong with her storyline. Like she's so out of the show. Like she could be on like a whole different show.
That's what I said last episode. I was like, if they don't connect their understanding of what's going on with Percival right now, then I'm going to be very annoyed. So I'm really glad that they did this episode. Okay, anyway, so then it cuts to Archie and Betty talking in Thornhill to Cheryl about Percival. They just want to like, you know, start their survey and see, you know, they're trying to warn her. And Abigail is obviously like still kind of pissed, right? Because she's Abigail. So she's like, whatever. I don't know what you're talking about. You guys are actually the villains. Like, you know, she's obviously feeling some type of way because she's talking as Abigail,
I,
and she
I
kicks them
love,
out.
yeah, I love that. Like, because the whole time I'm like, do they know that she's Abigail? Like, are they getting hints of like this bitch is
Right.
acting a little crazier than normal? But I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
Cheryl is so crazy that you can't ever
Cheryl is
tell
that
her from that.
extreme.
She's that
Yeah, that's the
extreme.
problem. Like, she literally talks and acts the exact same way. So
Yeah.
like you could never
Like
really
you would never
tell.
second guess her. You'd be like, yeah, that's her, like whatever, Abigail. Like you'd never think
Yeah.
that. You just be like, it's Cheryl. She's having a bad day, an
Yeah.
extra bad day.
she, just, she just wants to kill us again. Whatever. What are you
Yeah,
gonna do about
exactly.
it? So anyway, she kicks them out. She's annoyed. She's like, thanks for that. Whatever. I don't even care about you guys. And she tells Britta that she wants to bake like arsenic laced scones. And I'm like, cool.
And
So you
Britta's
just want to
going
go
on
right
with
to
it.
poisoning, like straight to death.
Straight to death.
I'm like, okay,
Don't
cool.
waste no time.
And Britta, obviously, like now we kind of understand where her position is right now. She basically feels like she's a prisoner. She can't do anything about it. Like she's gonna get the wrath on her if she does anything outside of what she's being told. She literally threatens her and says, if you don't make these scones, like I will feed you one myself. So I'm like, okay.
Dude, those scones look good though.
They look good, but also scones are hard to make. How do you make them?
I've never made it.
They look that delicious. Anyway, cuts to Pop's diner and Twyla, it's like nighttime and some serpent is like filling his gas at the front and there's a drive-by shooting and they shoot up Pop's.
Crazy.
And you can see Twyla at the front like door and or in the car.
Yeah.
And she's like, ha ha, ha. She's like running around with this gun. So cuts to the next morning and Tabitha calls Tony and says that there's a secret council meeting happening trying to remove Tony from the council like right now. Like you need to get there right now. So that cuts to Betty, Archie, and Jughead visiting Veronica at the casino to talk about Percival. So finally we get the moment with the core four.
Yeah, love this.
Room.
Totally.
Six.
But like no one even says like, hey girl, long time no see, or like,
yeah,
like I would have loved like a little like funny sort of line to say like, yeah, she has been MIA from the main storyline. Like
sure.
It would have been funny.
It's all been, it was all business.
Yeah.
I wasn't mad at it. I wasn't mad at it actually because it felt like she was kind of sitting on her own throne and she was like ruling her own kingdom and they were coming to visit her and I was like,
she had answers and she did have answers and she did her own research and like she did her own investigative work. So I did love that for sure. Like
for sure.
And it's okay if she has her own like storyline that branches away, as long as they have these moments where like it does intersect a little bit.
Right.
It works. Like I don't mind it as much, but like I do feel like right now her storyline is veering into like this like Reggie part where I'm like, okay, we're going like really far from even Veronica's storyline. Like it's turning into a Reggie storyline. Anyways, we'll talk about that later.
She says that she hasn't been visited by Percival yet, but she does say that he's pretty sketchy. And then she goes on to tell them about how she saw that footage of Percival whispering to the guy and the guy was murdered. So now they're all like, okay, this is all sus.
And like he's like a ghost, like we can't trace him out of Riverdale. Like where did he come from? Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem that I have is they go all this way and then they kind of stop at like talking about the superpower stuff. You know what I mean? Like she just told you that a guy died in her casino because of Percival, likely. You'd think that like Betty, Archie, and Jughead would be like, okay, come into the fold. Like, by the way,
but we
have superpowers and also like he might be like a super villain who has superpowers as well.
So like, here's the thing. Understand that. I totally get what you're saying. And now I'm thinking about it and I'm like, okay. And I wish they just said this. Yeah. I wish they just said in the beginning, we can't tell anyone about our powers, because if he is reading minds and if he is going into people's minds, then if they know,
they'll be in danger.
They'll be in danger because then they know that then he'll know about our powers. I wish they had just said that in the beginning to make them smarter and that they have an actual plan and like a way of like, you know, doing to your point, not telling anyone, just keeping it between the three of them because he can read people's minds and he'll find out. I would have loved that like reasoning for it.
And that makes that's completely valid reason. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
Right. Because he is reading minds. So like it does make sense. But again, they just don't say that. So then to your point, you're like wondering like, hey, why are you leaving her out of everything still? Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway. So as they're leaving, they get a message from Tabitha to also go to the El Royale because of the secret meeting that they're having. Cuts to the council meeting, and you know, Percival wants to remove Tony. And again, she has to speak for herself. She has to like basically give the laundry list of the things
I
that
love
she's
this
done for
moment.
the town. I love this too, for
Love
sure.
this. I just love
And
Choni. Like,
her the what they've given her this last little bit of time, I'm like,
so good.
I'm in love with her character.
They've
I'm in love with
enriched
her
her
as an
character
actress.
so much. Yeah, like as an actress, she's an amazing, as like a mom, like in the show,
Yeah.
like everything she does is just amazing. And she's such a full character.
Yeah.
Someone who came from like literally like she was like a C list character who
Yeah.
barely even had a backstory. Remember how we were like
Yeah.
asking them to
Yeah.
give her a backstory?
And
And she
now
was
she
just
has
like a
like
love interest. And
everything.
now she's like an integral part to this, like this entire town. And she
Yeah.
stood up there and she was like, I've literally done this. When all
Yep.
of y'all left this town, I was still here. And I'm like,
She's like, I was a
it's,
guidance counselor. I fucking did this.
yeah,
I do that. I'm like, whoa, yeah.
I
She's got like
loved
a
it.
resume, you know?
Like,
And her final line, which I feel like she should have just left out because obviously it was used against her, was she says she wants to raise her son somewhere safe. Like he's the reason why, you know, she's doing all the things that she does to make like Riverdale a better place. And they want to put it all to a vote. They're like, okay, we're gonna do a vote then. Cuts back to Veronica at the casino, and one of Veronica's workers,
yeah,
basically says Reggie's dad isn't doing very well. He's like down $7,000. Like you should come in and intervene to like stop this whole situation. Cutting back to the council meeting, Betty, Jughead, and Archie finally arrive. So they were obviously a little too late, and Tony gets voted out. She get like, so we don't even get to see like the unanimous vote of her getting voted out of council. She just gets voted out. And Jughead, even in that moment, is like, that's really odd though. Like, I don't see that actually happening. So, like, why, you know, like he's very confused as to why that even happened in the first place, which would have been a perfect opportunity for them to say, by the way, it sounds like Percival is influencing people with his mind. Like, even after her amazing speech, not one person was like, give her another chance. Like, she's really been working hard. Like, she done told the whole town what she's been doing, and they still voted her out. Like, no, that's sus. So I was a little annoyed. Like I said, I just think that in general, I'm annoyed because, like you said, they should have just said, we can't tell anybody about this whole situation. We need to investigate it on our own because we need to make sure that we keep our people safe. That would have made so much more sense. But now it hits me in these moments where I'm just like, this would have been a good opportunity for you to tell Frank and Alice what the fuck is happening with Percival and how you shouldn't trust him because he's got X, Y, and Z happening. Like, can you see what he's trying to do to the town?
Yeah.
But they're all,
I guess it's like building up to that. Because by the end of the episode, like, they kind of get that, right?
Who? Alice and Frank?
No, like the Jughead and stuff.
They get to the point of him like actually they just keep like confirming that he's evil, and I'm just like, we know he's evil. So like, let's keep moving. Anyway, so it cuts back to Veronica talking to Reggie's dad. She pulls him aside and he's down and he needs money. He's like, I need like $5,000. Like, can you throw me some money? And Veronica's like, honestly, like, we don't really do that. And the scene ends with her like not really answering his question because he keeps pushing. And like, I guess that's how the scene ends.
What do you feel about all of that? Like, how do you feel after that scene? Because that's where I was like, what's going on here?
So I feel like his character, obviously you want to look at him and be like, okay, he's gonna try to do his best as Reggie's dad and all this stuff, and maybe he's just trying to enjoy his life. I think at this point in time in the episode, none of it made sense to me. I was like, okay, he's just gonna like go into his old shitty like gambling ways or whatever. Like, we never really knew what problems he had outside of being an abusive father, I guess, to Reggie. So at this point, I looked at this and I was like, like, really, we're like doing that with his character right now? Like, okay, cool, fine. And then obviously Veronica trying to be the nice girlfriend and trying to do all these things, like she's stuck in a hard place with it. Why? What did you think about this situation?
I don't know. I was just like trying to understand the intent behind why are we talking about his dad's like, I thought we already had a Reggie dad like whole moment in Riverdale.
Yeah.
And I understand that,
which I guess is why
we're sort of like replicating like what happened again. It's just like there's a really deep focus on it. And I'm just wondering, like, are we supposed to take something from it? Is she now realizing wow, maybe a casino isn't a good idea because like look what it's doing to the people that like
Look what
I
it's doing to the
love.
people.
Maybe
Right.
that's what they're gonna take away from it, and like maybe then I wouldn't really have an issue with it. But
Yeah.
like I'm just sitting here watching and I'm like, I don't understand what I'm watching
Like
because like
why?
why now? Like, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
and it's
True.
we got a couple of comments online too, and people were like, I like just didn't understand why it kind of feels a little random.
Yeah.
And yeah, by the end of it, we get a bit more answers from the Reggie side, but even then I was like, okay, and like, is this all
Yeah.
gonna make Veronica question like her relationship with Hiram? Like what's it all leading for her character? Because
For her
ultimately we care
character.
about her character, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
I don't know. I feel like Veronica
I
kind of
don't
took a
know.
back seat on the storyline to your point. Like
No,
I don't really know
totally.
if she had a purpose outside of seeing this kind of push and pull between Reggie and her
And
dad
like
and the
again,
dad.
like I don't see any chemistry between them anymore. Like on screen,
Yeah.
even I'm just like they just seem like business partners, and it's kind of boring. Like even if they were
Yeah.
like a little like if she was even a bit more eager to like make the romantic relationship work, and this was
Right.
her way of like it's okay, like I love him so much, so, like I'm gonna like just take care of his dad. Like even if that was a play, I'd be like it's a bit more interesting because like there's a part of her that just wants her relationship to work with
Of
Reggie,
course.
right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then
yeah.
that's not really coming up either. That's not really a concern, or it's
Right.
not being brought to the light. So like I'm just kind of like, where are we right now with you? It's kind of just
Yeah.
you know,
Like lost storyline for Veronica, like
yeah.
story of her
Just
life.
there different things they could have put in. Like I always analyze it in that way. Like just different things they could have added in where like I would have been more interested in it
Yeah,
just to
yeah.
understand like the motivation and the influence. But like there's nothing of that either. So like I'm just left with like, okay, it's just nothing.
You're like, cool, thanks, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so then it cuts to Riverdale High, and this is Abigail's scene where she's going around giving everybody the poison scones. I actually love this moment considering the fact that it was about her trying to fucking poison
Yeah.
everybody. She goes to Archie, she like hands him a fucking scone. She goes to Jughead, gives him a scone. Then she tries to give one to Betty, but because Betty can see her
Yeah.
aura, she's
She
like,
calls her out.
no, 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 no. Are you trying to kill me? Then
Is there
Abigail
gluten in
literally
those
rolls her
cookies? Because
eyes.
I'm
Yeah.
gluten allergic. I can't have that.
She's like, I cannot eat that. That is not what I need. I'm on a fast right now. Thank you.
I did like that though. I did like how like the red aura like showed, and I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah.
sick. Like she got
She had
her.
like bad intent. So
Yeah.
she just leaves. She's like, oh, fuck.
She's
So
like,
she
it's not
leaves.
working.
And then as soon as that happens, she like Betty realizes she's like, oh God, I gotta go like talk to Archie and
Yeah.
Jughead. They go to Archie. Archie's fine because he's indestructible. But then they go to Jughead and they're like, you need to throw up real quick.
The way Archie responded, it was he's like, I
like,
already ate it.
He's like, what? Yeah, like fucking crumbs
She's
all
like,
over his
put
face.
it down. He's like, let's go on.
Like, it's too late. It was delicious.
He was so shocked.
And then they go and get like Jughead to throw up. I was like, oh, I didn't know the salt trick. I didn't know that was something that you do when you.
Oh, was that what it was? It was
your body.
salt.
Yeah, salt and water. You chug it, and then I guess
yeah, it's true. It was like salt water.
I was like, dang,
At
Betty
the
giving us all the tips on how to throw up if you're getting poisoned. One thing that I would wanted to talk about, because it does happen again a few times this episode,
talk about
is
it.
the inconsistencies with her light sensitivity. So as we remember, just last episode, she literally had to turn off every light in the room to even walk into Archie's house. And then this time she's working in the body shop and her things are off. Like she's totally fine. She's like working on this car. The windows are open. I'm like, so does it happen from time to time?
So
like you think that she would have like a permanent fixture. Like she's just be wearing sunglasses the whole time now. Because now I'm confused as to why they even brought that element in at all.
I
like,
100% agree with you. The whole time I'm like, okay, this must be coming into play at some point later on because they're focusing on it. So like she's glasses on, glasses off, glasses on.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. When she was explaining it last week, I thought that she said it gets bright when she sees the aura. Like only when like she sees the redness, it like hurts her head. So then I was like, why do I have to wear all the time? That's what I took from it. I could be wrong. I don't know. It would make more sense if she's like just sensitive to light in general, because that would make more sense, right? Like just overall, she has to wear glasses all the time because like she could see so much now.
Exactly. That's what I thought. That I
Yeah.
assumed like just in general she needs to wear
But then to your point,
glasses.
then you'd be wearing them all the time. Like you're in the shop, like why aren't you wearing your glasses?
But she's not. And also, why is she in the shop? Is she not an FBI agent? Like, does she have nothing better to do?
Well,
but,
I guess
like, fix the fucking car?
She's also like the teacher for like the auto body.
But where were her students? She was just like fixing a car on her lunch break. Like, what
she has to be at the school. Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make
that's
no
like
sense.
The least of our like questions.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on with Betty and her
why
career?
Are you there? No, but I was gonna ask you. No, but yes, you're right. Like at the end, there's gonna be something why she has to wear these damn glasses. There's gonna be a reason. Like otherwise, it's such a random random
thing to put in her situation.
Unless we were saying, maybe each of them have a symptom of their abilities, right? Like whereas Jughead can't hear.
Yeah.
Archie, what's Archie's?
The kryptonite, like the palladium.
Right.
But anyway, well, we can move
maybe
on from this,
that.
but like really getting random headaches and having to put on sunglasses from time to time doesn't really sound like a problem to me. But I don't know.
I almost forgot for a second.
Auras,
I almost forgot for a second. And the first time we see her, she's wearing them like outside of Pops. So I'm like, damn, like how did Lily Reinhart like convince the producers to like let her wear sunglasses on set? And I'm like, oh, right. It's because of her thing.
Yeah. She needs to do the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on to Fangs and Tony talking at home, and Tony actually comes up with a really good idea. She's like, I'm thinking of rebranding the Serpents to become like a political activist group, kind of like the Black Panthers. And so like it's more community based. It's more like trying to fix the problems of the community versus like being a gang. And Fangs is on the other side. He's like, I don't think it's a good idea. And Tony says it will be a good idea if we stay united and we have like the same thought on this. And before they can continue the conversation. So once again, if we're talking about Tony and Fangs really quickly in the relationship, this is just the beginning, I guess, of the end of like how they see things. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this was a bit of a wedge to like get them kind of separate, because obviously she's going to look at Fangs and be like, you don't see what I'm seeing. We're not aligning with like our value system anymore. Like you still want to keep fighting with the Serpents and the Ghoulies, but like I'm a mom now. Like I don't want to do that anymore.
That's true. I didn't even think of that. That's a good point.
So yeah, they don't finish the conversation. They obviously finish it a little bit later, but we get Kevin fucking busting through the damn door with a warrant to search for illegal guns.
My first point, Mr. Kevin, deputy, how'd you get that job?
No.
You are the other baby daddy of this baby. You have you cannot be on this case. It's a huge conflict of interest, mister.
For sure.
Like
true story.
You live in that house sometimes. You go there. You can't be like coming with a search warrant the next day.
Yeah, exactly. Eye roll. You're just like,
that's like the first point.
Yeah, that's the first eye roll. But yeah, so already I'm very fucking annoyed by Kevin's character to begin with. This just like turned me to the next level. I was like, fuck this guy. I can't deal with him.
I'm out. You're out. You need to go.
I've been out. I'm out. You need to go. We all need to go. You need to get out of here. So he wants to check the baby's room, and then Fangs is like, fuck you. He like just chucks him to the side. And that's when he gets arrested. And Tony, like, but they do find guns. That's the problem. The problem is they do find guns in the
I thought
house.
they were like planted, and then freaking Fangs, man.
And then you find out what happens. But Tony like looks at Kevin and is like, why are you doing this, bro? And he doesn't have anything to say, and then he just walks away. And going back to what you were saying about people being persuaded, like, and it kind of even feeds into like Frank and Alice. Like, these are the moments where I'm like, maybe they aren't being persuaded. Maybe like this is just kind of like their mentality. And maybe we'll hear a little bit more of that when they finally have the showdown with Percival. And he's going to be like, you think I was out here influencing people? Like Alice, Frank, and Kevin, they all did that shit on their own, like, thought and their own like mindset. I just like leaned them forward. Like I kind of just pushed them over the edge. But they already had those thoughts to begin with.
I think it's,
who knows?
I think what you're saying is 100% on the ball. I think it's like that the whole Trump thing too, not to bring like politics into it. I
For
think
sure.
he accentuated what was already in a lot of people. And he
Yes.
just kind
Yeah.
of like pushed them. Like he kind of like
Push.
nudged them a little. Like, no,
Yeah.
I mean, he did
Gave
a
them a
lot,
reason.
but like he gave them a reason and he
Yeah.
accentuated those parts of people's maybe fears and like concerns. And like it came to the surface. So, like,
Yeah.
like what you're saying
Totally.
with Kevin, I feel like maybe that was always like down here. And like he just
Yeah.
like pushed it a bit more. He's like, go get them. And then he did it.
Because
So, yeah.
and that's the problem that I have with his. I mean, lots of problems with the character, but the thing that I have with that, both sides of that, is if he's being influenced, let's say like he's completely brainwashed, I cannot watch another season of
Yeah.
it starting off with Kevin being like, remember that one time that I was being brainwashed by that guy Percival, that I almost
Like you have
took
like one
custody of your
brainwash
son.
excuse in your life. That's it. If
Yeah,
you have like more than 5, like you're
if
out. Like you
that.
can't.
You have like 7 moments and you're like,
You can only
time
join one
period.
cult in your entire life. After that, it's your fault.
It's you. That's on you. Fool me once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just, and that's the thing. The other side of it is, if he isn't being influenced whatsoever, then he's just a bad person. And
Yeah.
and this is a complicated conversation. We can't really get into the fact that like it's like, you know, he's just trying to see the safety of the child, and he's the baby daddy, which I didn't know that was the case. That he was legally,
Me too.
he had legally signed a paper that
Me
says that
too.
he's the
I was
father
very
of
shocked.
Anthony.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought you all broke it off, and like that wasn't the situation. He was going to be involved.
Because didn't he say he doesn't want the baby? Like, didn't Kevin say, I want to go to Broadway? Like, I don't want anything to do with this baby.
That's why he broke up with Fangs. He was like, I don't want to have a child with you.
So what the hell? Like, what's
going
on?
Go to Fox Forest and go fuck somebody, because you clearly just need to do that for the rest of your life. If that's what you want to go do that. Because don't get into fucking Tony's business and suddenly you want to be the baby daddy. Maybe Tony should put you on trial for being having an anonymous sex in the fucking forest. Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, like it just like doesn't make any
a mother
sense.
And a child away from, like, I just can't. That's not forgivable to me. I'm sorry.
No. Kevin needs to die. Like at this point.
They were looking for a human sacrifice this episode. It should have been him.
Take him. Like he will volunteer as tribute. I will volunteer.
Then he just chucks his body into the fire. Like,
it's true. Like there's too many things that he has done.
Yeah.
And like whether or not he was persuaded or not, like it doesn't matter. Like you've done too many like dark and fucked up things. It's time to go. Like seriously, it's time to blow.
I honestly don't know what they're gonna do with this character. But like, at this point, I just want to be like, move on. Like,
and like no one likes you. Like literally no one likes you. Like everyone's tweet was like, Kevin, you're like, you gotta go.
Terrible. You need to leave. Yeah. He is the new Hiram. Like he is the new villain. Forget
not
Percival.
Even. I feel Kevin like people liked Hiram. Like we liked Hiram. We were like, we understand where he's coming from.
But Kevin, you have no reason to be so wild.
No reason.
Like, what is wrong with you?
No reason.
Okay, cuts to the jail, and Tony and Fangs are talking because Fangs is now in jail, and she's like, I'll bail you out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But like, why were there weapons in the house, bitch? And
like
he goes
weapons,
on to say,
like duffel bag
like,
full of weapons,
like shotguns,
like what the hell?
So he says that he was storing them for a battle royale with the ghoulies that were challenging the Serpents on the side. Like Tony didn't even know about any of this situation because Fangs was contacted by Twyla on the side tip. So she didn't know that this whole thing was happening, and he wanted to do it. And also he said the Serpents also want to fight. Like they're ready to fight as well. So Tony's out here being like, fuck, like I'm losing control of my entire gang. Like, what the hell's happening?
She's like trying so hard to like take care of everything.
I felt so bad for her
like
this
amazing.
Episode. So terrible. Cuts to Veronica chilling in bed, Reggie coming home, and he's like, my dad just told me that he had like such a good time at the casino. And Veronica tells him like what happened though. She was like, it looks like, you know, he kind of got over his head. He asked me for money. I didn't know what to do. And then she asked him, she's like, just checking, why did your dad get into debt with my dad? Mm-hmm. Like, was it because he was a gambler? Like, is that the situation? And Reggie takes like huge offense to this. So maybe we should talk about like that. Like, take a second to talk about where you feel Veronica and Reggie are now based on him suddenly storming off in this moment and getting so affected. Because at the beginning I was like, why is he getting so upset? She's just asking him a question.
Yeah.
and then he just leaves. He's like, don't worry about it, I'll deal with it, it's my dad's stuff, I'm leaving.
You know, I think having seen what happened at the end, there's something really beautiful about Reggie's storyline. Like there really is. I really do love his storyline. I wish we had some of that throughout the whole series, because I feel like now we're like being like swarmed by like so much of it. But there
Yeah,
is something beautiful. I feel like now that we know what happens to his dad, like he's only got like what, like 1 year to live, or like 2 years,
right,
whatever. Like all of these things I think are like hitting Reggie, and like he wants his dad to be happy. And I think he wants to protect maybe his dad's legacy, and a part of him too. Like he doesn't want
right,
him to be known as like the gambler who like owed all this money to Hiram Lodge, and like it
right.
affects Reggie obviously. So
Mhm.
I think that's where that frustration is coming from, because I think when Veronica asked him, he's like, oh, it was just for like renovations to like the car dealership or something. Like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
for like the business, but I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure it was because like he was losing money.
Mhm.
I don't know.
So the
What do you
problem that I
think?
have with that whole situation is the fact that, like, sure, you can be triggered by what she says to him, like you can have all those situations, but it goes back to what you said about how the relationship feels very businesslike.
Oh, totally.
Like
Yeah.
she's meeting you in bed and she's asking how your day went, and you're all excited, and suddenly you're triggered by something that she says, and so you walk out the door because you want to save your dad's legacy. Like what you said totally makes sense, but why aren't you letting Veronica in? Like you're
Well,
not talking to
it's
anybody else about this, so
I
like
think
why
this is the
can't you
beginning of the
say
end for them too. And I think in
100%?
that moment, like you look at her face and she's like, ugh, like she's just not getting through to him. They're just not on the same like level, like
Page,
vibing.
yeah,
Like he clearly has things that he's dealing with. He's not letting her in. I mean, they have major issues. They have really major issues. Like
huge
they're
issues. the,
yeah.
the thing that makes me sad is, like, he was there for the death of her father, and knowing how complicated a relationship between her and her father was, you'd think that he would at least give her the respect of like saying like, my relationship with my dad is
Yeah.
also complicated, as you know, he used to abuse me. Like it would have been a good opportunity,
Yeah.
but they don't seem to want to save their relationship. And that's what I mean when you keep saying it feels very business. It feels like the writers just want them to fall
Fall
apart,
apart.
because
Yeah.
a real relationship would never do this. Like a real relationship would actually be like, okay, I dealt with your dad shit, deal with my dad shit, and this is the
Well, it
reason
depends,
why
I
my
think.
dad is dying. Did you know that my dad is dying? Like he only has 1 year to live. Like that would have fixed everything, and Veronica would have been like, okay,
I
I'll
think
do
it's
whatever. Let's get him into debt. I don't give a shit. Like
yeah, I think people deal with everything differently, and maybe it was easier for him to help Veronica with her dad, and it's not as easy for him to deal with his own dad's like things,
yeah,
right? Like
fair.
I understand that too, but I just want to know like where they're going with his character. Like
Yeah,
if Veggie is for real and they're like we're going to make it to the end, I want them to have those conversations, and I want to see those struggles on screen, and then like
yeah,
see them like work through it, and then like come together as stronger as a couple. But like I don't think we're going to see that. I think this is really the end of their relationship.
yeah.
And I don't know, like do you see an end for Reggie? I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of like phased him out.
Like death to Reggie, not necessarily. Probably more like splitting from the casino. I can definitely
Yeah.
see that happening in the next bit of time. Like
Yeah.
he's probably going to be like, you and me, we just don't vibe. Like peace. Like I'm going to go do my own hustle. It's dirty business. Like I learned enough from your dad to like run this like shady like car shop. Like you do the casino all by yourself, because like we are not compatible. Like I can see that happening. But to your point, I don't know if that is the case. Why do we care about Reggie? You know what I mean?
And
Like,
we got a really beautiful Reggie episode, I think, in
yeah,
Riverdale, right? Like that was a beautiful episode that he had. Like I was
mhm,
fine with just that.
yeah,
And now we're still on him. So I'm like, all right, I don't like he's not that like important. He was great
yeah,
assisting Veronica's storyline. And like where are we going with Veronica? Like my focus is just on her right now, and it's kind of
right,
focusing on him, and it's kind of like I don't get it. Why? Like what's gonna
yeah.
happen?
I don't know.
I thought
I
we
don't
were
know.
pivoting to like Veronica being like shady, and like that's not really happening.
It's not really happening. And at the same time, like, anyway, I don't really know what because they want to give her so much. They want to give her the relationship and the business and the gangster. And like, she's just got, it's too many things for us to focus on, I think.
Even if her storyline was more fun, like
Yeah.
if they were like a boss ass couple
Yeah.
you know, like going to Pops every night and like
Doing their
doing a
thing. Yeah.
casino. Like that would be really fun to watch. Like half the town is like falling apart, but you guys are having a really good time. Even
Right.
that would have been fun to watch, but like they're not even having a good
But
time.
stressed all
So
the
it's
time.
they're always stressed. Yeah. So it's like it's boring to watch.
Yeah, for
Anyways,
sure.
yeah.
Cut into Abigail and Britta talking, and Abigail now wants to talk to Tony to also get some blood from her for the spell that she wants to do. And Britta double checks. She's like, okay, so like after you do the thing with Tony, like, are you still like, are you good? And she's like, no, I'm still gonna kill those 3 people. Like, we're gonna still kill them. And Britta's just like, fuck. Like she's scared. She's nervous. Cuts to the 3, and now they're realizing that something might be up with like Cheryl, so they want to read her mind because she tried to like fucking kill them before. So she's like, let's see if we can like see what her mind, like where her mind's at, because maybe Percival is influencing her too, like to kill them.
Yeah.
So Jughead's like, sure, but like I just got poisoned, so like I need a minute, like give me a second. Cuts to Tony, and she gets a visit from Abigail. She brings her some flowers, and as she grabs them, she pricks her finger on a thorn, and the blood is on it. So she like dabs it. She grabs her little handkerchief and she puts it to the side. Then Abigail kind of pries a little bit more about the issues with the ghoulies and the serpents, and Tony divulges the fact that they basically want to kill Archie. They're still like after him. They want to kill him. And that's when you see like Abigail's face kind of like get intrigued. She's like, ooh, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, like down. So she's into like trying to find a way to kill Archie for this reason. Really quickly, because I don't know if we're going to go back to it, but so she's doing all these things. She like pricks the finger. They do the close-up shot of her like with a napkin and the blood and blah, blah, blah. But they don't end up doing, they like, spoiler, obviously, whatever. They don't end up doing the spell this episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you think that they just did that as kind of a red herring for us to feel like, oh, she's going to get to a certain point and then she's going to kill somebody?
Yeah, I think so.
But like, I didn't even see her killing somebody this episode because there was so much going on. I was like, who's she gonna kill? Whose body is she gonna kill? She didn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
So she couldn't do the spell.
She failed.
So I was like,
she failed. Yeah.
She failed, but like doing all these little extra things that we needed to see. I'm like, did you actually think that she
I didn't mind it
win and succeed?
Yeah, I didn't mind it because like she's so crazy. You're like wondering where she's going with everything, right? Like,
right.
What is she actually gonna do? I didn't mind it. I honestly, I'm quite like I am enjoying this storyline because I think it's so quirky and like it's so crazy, and it is still sort of aligning with the main sort of storyline. So I like it. I think they're all lining up really nicely.
Yeah. So anyway, she's intrigued. She's like ready to kill Archie too. Cuts to Reggie's dad talking to Reggie at the car lot, and he basically says like, bad news, buddy, I lost our business.
The whole business.
The whole freaking business. Essentially he's asking if like Veronica can talk to the wise guys because they took him to some private poker game, and that's when he lost the car lot. And he's like, can you talk to her and see if there's anything else that can be fixed or can be done? And that's when he's like, okay, let me go talk to her. Cuts to Tony talking to Janet, the social worker. Really interesting scene. So she's sitting and talking to the social worker. Janet's like, hey, I'm just doing a wellness check on baby Anthony. And Tony has a like deja vu, which was really interesting to me because out of all the characters, even any of the characters currently, including Jughead, who like knew about the paradox, whatever, we know about the Riverdale situation or Rivervale situation, Tony's kind of the first character that we see her get this like parallel moment between the episode of Riverdale.
It's like a deja vu, literally.
Yeah. And she literally says, she's like, I just had deja vu of like nighttime versus daytime, like you checking in on my baby. And kind of the same thing happened. She's like, can I see baby Anthony right now? And in Rivervale, he was on the floor, I think, and La Llorona was trying to steal the baby.
Yeah.
In this scene, it's not La Llorona, someone
like
did take the baby. Someone took the baby, the window's open, and now Janet's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And Tony's freaking out.
Like it's a good point. Like I love that moment because literally like in
Yeah.
my mind when that was happening, I cut to that scene in Riverdale.
Yeah.
And then they actually
Yeah.
cut to it. I'm like, oh, sick. Like this is I wish they did this for like all those other moments, but maybe from now on they're gonna start like putting them in because maybe
Like
now the
connecting.
two worlds are like like they're starting to collide with each other.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I feel like I hope that there's gonna be more of it because
I hope so too. Yeah.
Tony's is like probably the most current direct like parallel. I mean,
And
there's other
Reggie's.
parallels
I
that
think
we've had.
Reggie's too, maybe.
Reggie's as well, for sure. But like the fact that she's even cluing in, she's like, this happened already.
Yeah.
Like, and we got to see that. I was like, okay, the writers and the producers want us to see that there's some sort of like, I don't know, crossover, some connection, something
Yeah.
lingering that still happened from
It'd
that
be
explosion.
interesting. I guess no one else could really do it. I was just thinking it'd be interesting if they started with like the outer circle of friends and then moved like closer and
Moved
closer.
closer and closer, which could happen for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, cuts to Archie leaving the El Royale, and Abigail basically is like on the top of the roof and she fucking chucks a Molotov cocktail at him. He's like on fire and she's like, ha ha ha. And that's the end of that scene. I was like, what is wrong with this psycho? And she's wearing like gang member like attire.
Ghoulies
She's not wearing like a cute
merch.
dress. She's wearing
the merch.
Yeah, she's wearing Ghoulies merch. So then it cuts to Pop's Diner and people are handing out flyers for Anthony. And you know, they want to do like a full check to see like where he's at. The whole town is helping out. And as Jughead is walking through, he's kind of listening on people's thoughts first to see if anybody has any leads, but he hears
This was a cool moment.
It was a cool moment and I wish they did this more, but
yeah,
you start to hear people like basically shading Tony, basically saying she shouldn't
like,
be
what kind of mother
mom,
is she? Of course she lose her baby.
Exactly, like all that stuff is happening and he's like, oh. Anyway, Archie texts Betty and says that they need to meet outside. They talk and he's like, by the way, like I just got tried, like she just tried to burn me yesterday night.
Yeah.
Like what the F? And then Jughead's like, okay, like now I can go talk to her and see what the hell's going on because like she's literally trying to kill us. Cuts to Reggie talking to Veronica about his dad, and he asks if she could talk to the wise guys and see if like they can figure something out. And Veronica says, okay, I'll try to talk to those guys, but can you at least admit at this point in time that your dad has a gambling problem? And that's when he like snaps on her and is like, forget you, I'm gonna deal with this on my own. Basically what I said earlier, it's just getting worse and worse. Like I wish that they could talk a little bit more. I wish that he could just divulge the information that he has about his dad,
you know,
like,
what I
dying
wish?
And like, because I feel like he's trusting that Veronica has the capacity to just like empathize regardless of what the situation is. I don't think anybody who runs a business would be totally fine with this situation happening and being like, yeah, don't worry, I'm just gonna cut that right off the bill for your dad, not realizing like he doesn't have a lot of time. I want my dad, like he didn't give enough information to Veronica for her to really properly understand it. And instead he's just assuming, you should know, you're my girlfriend, you should like know that my dad just wants to have a good time. Like you should, like that's like, not
she's
enough
looking
to go
out for you
of.
too, obviously. Like it's your money too.
Yeah. So I was kind of annoyed by that.
Honestly, I was just thinking about it. I was like, I would have really loved to see. Well, let's not forget that Hiram died 2 episodes ago and like she buried her own dad. Like I wish she kind of like just got really, she was grieving more. Like I wish we saw a Veronica that was like stripped down, that like didn't want to leave her house, that was maybe drinking a lot. Like I wish she took Hiram's death like more like seriously,
like hit
her harder. It's like, because I'm feeling like they didn't know what to do with Veronica this season. Truly, it really feels like that. And now they're like hanging on to Reggie's storyline and like creating something with that. But like they could have done so many interesting things of how you even deal with grief. Like, like true. He's dealing with it right now with his dad because like his dad is given 1 year to live, whatever. But it would have been so interesting to see her fall down and then have to slowly pick herself up, you know?
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
So many things it could have done.
It could happen later, I guess,
maybe.
like in the future. But yeah, you're right. Right now is a good time to try to see if she can.
Like, I mean, she's trying to help him and his dad. Like, she just lost her dad like last week. Like,
yeah, you think that there would be some sort of connection there some way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm dealing with something else, Reggie. Like, chill,
exactly.
you know? Like,
exactly.
Why can't you be anyway? Sorry, continue.
Yeah.
We'll continue. Going to the White Worm. Tony's sitting there just waiting for a phone. I don't know why she was just sitting by herself in a fucking bar, but Tony gets a call from Twyla about Anthony, and it shows Twyla's perspective. She's like at a phone booth or whatever, and baby Anthony's being held by Percival Pickens. Like he's just like fucking holding this baby like a fucking psychopath. And she says, like, in order to get him back, we'll drop him off at Pop's, but you have to agree to like a battle royale at the docks. Like, can't tell anybody about it, but like, bring your guns, bring all your things, because we're gonna be there and we're gonna fight. And Tony says, like, okay, well, you need to drop off the baby first, and then like we'll meet you. Like, I'm gonna figure that stuff out. And then she's like, cool, bye. And then it cuts to Tony talking to Tabitha about it, tells her kind of the side plan. Tabitha thinks it's a terrible idea because she's like, you can't get any of the cops involved, you can't get the FBI involved. But she's like, don't worry, I will still stick by you and I will help you get baby Anthony back. I'll give you a call as soon as we get the baby. This is all going to go very wrong very fast. Like, I was like, fuck, the things are getting very, very dicey now. So then it cuts to Reggie, and he goes to visit the wise guys at that restaurant. And he starts off by basically saying, like, okay, like, what are you going to do with this place? Like, that's my family business. I'm pretty upset about the fact that you guys just took it. And I was interested to see where this was going to go, because the last time that we were in a scene like this with like 3 goons, they got shot up by Hiram. Like, young Hiram basically blew them their brains out. So I was like, is this just a scene where like violence just happens in this fucking restaurant all the time? But Reggie kind of goes in an interesting way, and he basically says, like, well, what do you want to do with this place? And do you want to run some scams? If that's the case, then you need someone who knows the business. So it sounds like he wants to partner with them to like keep the business at home, but also like you can still run, like you can still own it, but like I'm going to be a part of it. To run it. And I guess they agree later. You find that out later. But what did you think of him kind of pulling that trigger instead
it's a big
of
move.
like being like, give me my shit back? You know?
It's a big move. It's a big pivot. I'm down for it because I do think it's going to open up a whole nother sort of storyline. I think I would be okay if somehow he got into this really like messed up situation and he ended up dying. Like, we need stakes right now. Like, we need to like get somewhere with these storylines. And like, what is he gonna by the end of season? Oh, I shouldn't have done that whole shady thing. You were just talking about the shady thing to Veronica 2 weeks ago. You were like, we shouldn't do shady things. And then you were like, wait, we should do shady things. So it's just like, it's all over the place. But I feel like this is a really big move. So let's see like what comes from it.
For sure. So then it cuts to Jughead going to visit Cheryl at Thornhill, but Britta answers the door, and Britta can't really answer a lot of questions. She's like, I can't tell you anything.
I love this moment. This was so cool.
But finally, Jughead uses his like mind reading skills to get all the information.
Did he tell her to like say it in her head?
Yeah.
Because then he could hear it.
Basically, he's like, don't say anything to me. That's totally fine.
But
like, think it hard enough, and I can hear your let's see what I can do. So she tells him the whole situation. That was cool.
She's she recaps the whole season.
Yeah, she like goes through the whole fucking storyline of what happened so far, and he's like, BRB, are you gonna be okay? And she's like,
yes, it was cute. I liked it.
I was like, finally, Britta's like coming through.
Yeah,
like,
and Jughead's like doing work
coming together. I was like, good job, Jughead. Yeah. Then it cuts to Pop's Diner, and Tabitha overhears Kevin talking about a turkey shoot, essentially, and how the serpents are being set up. So Tabitha is like, what the F? Kevin, tell us what's going on. And so he divulges the information at this point in time. And that's when she gets a call. She calls Tony, and Tony gets this call from Tabitha saying, you need to call off the serpents right now. The police are coming. They're going to just basically like blow you all to bits if you start shooting at them. So like, put your shit down. So right in that moment, like just in time, Tony tells everybody to put their guns down as the police are turning the corner with their guns, and they're like, put your weapons down, blah 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 blah. And I love this moment so much. It was so good, and it gave me chills when it happened, because at one point in time, Percival comes out and he's ready to be like, pop pop pop, but because he says that he's like, the serpents are trying to resist arrest.
Yeah, like,
And
get
she's
them.
like, this is being streamed right now. Like, don't fuck with
She's like,
me.
no, we're not. She's like, no, we're not. And like, they're on
Yeah.
their knees basically. And she's like, and I'm live streaming.
Yeah. So like, go fuck yourself. And like, she finally like kind of, so if we want to talk about the storyline of this being called, or the fact that this is called the Serpent Queen's Gambit, it is kind of like a bit of a chess game that they're playing right now. So like, this is her being like, check, like,
Yep.
I'm in my own zone. You check yourself.
And I'm
first.
exposing you. Like,
exactly. And so Percival's kind of like stuck again in terms of what he needs to do next.
I wonder if anyone will, like, if the live stream actually did go through and like she has a lot of followers, let's say.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone will even recognize him maybe around the world to be like, hey, that guy came to our town, or like something crazy like that.
He's like, hey, that's my dad. He's not paying child support. Like, just like call him out. Got to Veronica talking to Reggie, and he says that he got the dealership back and that he barred his dad from coming from the casino. And Veronica's like, okay, well, like, I didn't ask for you to do all those things, but like, cool, I guess. Like, and so he's lying to her, basically saying that he took care of everything, but really that's not the case at all. He's like getting even deeper with the gang members, etc., etc. So he's lying to her, and like we said, this is pretty much the beginning.
And they're both
of the
lying
end.
to each other. Like, they've been lying to each other.
They've been lying to each other, but I think in this point in time, I think he just looks at Veronica and he's just like, I can't trust you because I don't
do you
want
think
your
it's
support.
Do you think it's that, or do you think it's the fact that and if this is the way that they are going, I wish they accentuated it more. Do you think he is trying to be the guy, and he's trying to be the guy that like saves her? He's trying to be the guy that like, you know, fixes everything and knows how to handle everything, and he just can't. But maybe he's trying to be that guy.
Maybe
and I wouldn't hate that story. I wouldn't hate that because I love that for him. I just wish they I wish they like made that obvious.
Obvious. Yeah.
Right now it just looks like he's being shady and he's lying to her. So like,
that's exactly what it is. Like, there's no real motivation for him to lie to her at this point, because she hasn't really done anything wrong outside of maybe like blanket judge his dad and make him feel like, you know, like she doesn't really understand the full picture. But it's because she doesn't understand the full picture. Like, she doesn't, like, you're not telling him like her that he's that's dying true. And all this other stuff, and like, I don't know, I don't think it's fair if he gets to this point with her for no reason. Like, I don't think it's justified.
If he came out and he was like, you know, it's like to Veronica, and he was like, you have everything always figured out, you're always on top of your game, and he's like, I just always want to be like that too. And that would just show like a huge insecurity in Reggie too. And like, I would love to see that. Like, it's showing you like how he's trying to deal with it in front of her, because he's trying to impress her too still maybe. But none of that's coming through. So I really don't think that's where they're going with that.
Or like, to your point, maybe we just got to be more patient with the writers, and like it'll happen at some point when they start to get to the like to that end point of the relationship, or like the pivotal point of them breaking up. Cuts to Jughead going to visit Betty and Archie. And he's like, we got to help Cheryl. Like, this is more important than another council meeting. Like, we have to go, because they were about to leave to go to the emergency council meeting. So they're like, we need to go help Cheryl right now. Then it shows Betty. Love Lily Reinhart in this moment, and also Betty. I think just her as a character, when they like put her in these situations. She goes to Cheryl's house and pretends to be crying about the fact that
she had the
Archie
Lauren
was, like,
Conrad mascara leak.
Yeah, she was like full fucking crying. And she's like, Archie's been burned. I don't know what's happening.
He's dead. My lover's dead.
And then Abigail walks back into the house, and that's when she like chloroforms her.
I love that. I was sick.
That makes her pass out. And she like whispers, she's like, don't worry, Cheryl, if you're in there, we'll get you back. Don't worry, we'll figure something out. So then it cuts to Tony, and she gets a visit from Percival in jail. And Percival says that they found baby Anthony with the ghoulies, and they shot them all up. They're all dead now, and only Twyla Twist survived. And Tony's like, oh, okay, great, thank God that he's alive, he's okay. And she's like, where's my baby now? And then Percival goes on to say that Anthony is with his father. And I was like,
which one?
Which one? They're gay. They're homosexuals.
But Kevin is not a father. He never said he wanted to be a father of this baby, though. Like,
there's a huge miss with that
Yeah.
part of the story because they never resolved it before they got to this point. Like even if it started off really quickly when he took the baby 2 episodes ago to like
Yeah.
protect him
Yeah.
before he became a
That was just
fucking
like
deputy.
protection though. That wasn't like I'm the dad now.
Yeah, like, but they could have said like, now that you've signed the papers, like, now that
Exactly.
we've had the
Yeah.
conversation to sign the papers, or now that we've named you godfather or something to show that there's a connection or direct
Yeah.
reason why he would care about this baby outside of the fact that he literally said last season he did not want a baby.
Yeah.
And he like left the whole like them
Like
alone.
he wanted Broadway over a baby. So
exactly. So he's fucking terrible. Anyway, I was annoyed. Cuts to a scene in the forest under the blood moon. I guess the blood moon is happening right now. And Abigail wakes up and she's at the stake and everyone is standing nearby her. Betty, Archie, Jughead, Nana's back. So she's like out of the jail or whatever.
So sorry. If Nana started all of this, how is she just sitting there being like, this is so cool?
I'm cool.
Because then that means her plan is going up in smoke, no?
Yeah, I mean, I think that her plan backfired on her. I think that's what we're supposed to take away from the fact that like she got locked up is like Nana wanted to do one thing and then like it went the opposite direction for her and then she like was like, oh shit. But I am annoyed about the fact that we didn't get another scene because we always have these random useless scenes with Nana talking about the solutions and shit. How did they get to the point where she had to be burnt at the stake? Like why was that the solution? Like how is that?
I guess that's the only way to like take the soul out, maybe.
But how do they know that was not going to happen? Like Cheryl's body wasn't going to be burnt to a crisp. Like her soul is still in there. You know what I mean? So effectively, they would have just burned Cheryl to death. Like if the wind didn't come and turn it all out. You know what I mean?
Oh
like,
wait, it didn't. She didn't burn.
No, she doesn't burn.
Oh,
she gets like they like light like at this
it
point
looked
in
like
time,
she was on fire.
They like set her on fire. Like they set the pyre on fire.
Yeah.
And she's holding like the Julian doll, whatever. We'll get back to it. Like let's talk about this quick scene.
Okay.
And then we'll go back to the fire. But council meeting, Percival gets town council. Like we find out that he gets a unanimous vote because Tony's in jail and Betty, Archie, and Jughead didn't show up to that vote. So like everybody voted against her and put Percival in there. So that's what happens. Cuts back to the burning. And that's when Abigail's basically screaming at the top of her lungs. She's cursing them. She's like, I'm gonna get you all. You guys are all evil. I hate you, blah 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 blah. And then the fire just goes out. Like suddenly, like the fire
as if
goes
like the
out,
soul's gone. Like maybe that
as
means
if
like
the soul's gone. Or I mean, I assume that like maybe like she used her powers because we're always assuming that Cheryl has this like wind power, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, did they know that Cheryl was gonna put the fire out? Like that's the problem that I have with these like magical stories. Like, did they know? Like Nana didn't say, okay, so when we put her at the stake, it'll burn her out of like her body.
True.
And then Cheryl will come back and then she will save herself and she will whatever. Like we don't get the explanation. We just have to be like, oh, okay.
Would you have liked to see a bit of Cheryl's perspective? Like if Cheryl's like lingering like in her like dream sequence, and you're like, yo, Cheryl, like we're gonna burn her now, like come through. Would you have liked to see that?
I think I would have loved to see like a fight between Cheryl versus Abigail. Like trying to why not have like a battle in her mind of her like trying to kick her own ass? Like that would have been
sick. Yeah.
But instead, I like to that point, I do feel like this whole resolution was pretty mediocre. I'm not gonna lie. Like
I feel like it's almost not even real. Like when she did wake up again, I was like, is she like tricking them again?
It's very suspicious for sure. Because at this point in time, when the fire goes out, Nana drops the Julian doll and she's like, it moved in my hands. And then the final shot is Cheryl being like, I'm back. And they're untying her from the stake. And the shot is of like the Julian doll on the floor.
As if like she's in the doll now.
That she's in the doll. They're like, where did she go? And then it's like slow zoom into the.
So do you think she's actually out of the body or do you think she's still there?
I do think that she's out of the body, but like I said, I think that to your point, being suspicious of it is totally fair because I feel like they did it in a really lackluster way. Like it could have been the fact that we had a literal possession of a human body who did all these things, and we had the story for like probably more than half of the season at this point. this was a very lackluster
It was,
ending.
and that's why I feel like it might not be.
And it might not be. You're absolutely right.
I want to
they
be
don't
gagged as the audience. Like play a trick on me, please.
Yeah.
So
This
I
just
hope we're
feels-
being tricked as the audience too.
Yeah,
But
it
I
does
don't
feel
know.
like a slow situation. But at the same time, I'm like, can we be done with this fucking storyline? Like,
Okay, so apparently RAS said that
Yeah.
Sabrina is coming back this season.
oh, interesting.
So will this story be dragged on long enough
for her to be
Kiernan
relevant?
Shipka to get on set and film her scenes, and then they edit it, and then we get to see it by season's end?
Okay,
Because that might make sense.
That'll make sense. But
if they're like, Sabrina, we need you now to take her out. Like, there's no, we can't figure it out. Like, you gotta take her out of the body. But didn't she already do that? She did the transference.
She did. I mean, but that was in Riverdale, so I guess they're doing it now in Riverdale.
Oh, okay.
So they're bringing it to like the real.
Okay,
world.
So that might make sense.
Adjacent, sure. I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm just tired of the storyline of it.
Yeah, I think by that point we're gonna be tired of it. Yeah,
because I really like the way they ended off Abigail's story and how she like, you know, she died, she came back, and she finally got to see Thomasina after all these years. She was released.
Yeah.
Her body was released. Da 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 da. And now we're getting this weird like possession. She's in a doll now. Like, we need to protect the doll now.
It would have been, and I think we talked about this maybe last week. It would have been really interesting if like they used her coming back and there was a more sort of relationship with Tony. You know, like there was a bit of a moment there. I think that would have been okay. It would have been interesting to watch. If she was like in her feelings about her and just kind of living in that sort of romantic sort of world. But I think Tony's storyline right now is so busy and focused with Riverdale, like the town. It's like, it would feel so stupid to pull her out of that and then like get her wrapped up in this whole other storyline.
I know.
But I think I would have loved to see more of that too. Like,
yeah, for sure. Maybe we are going to see that at some point, because I think we're hoping that eventually CHONI is going to happen again.
Yeah.
And maybe this is all just like the road to CHONI again, but it's just a lot of like it's all disjointed right now. It's all disconnected.
I wonder if like Tony will be motivated to start using like witchcraft or like use some sort of other power to get Anthony back.
Ooh.
Like, you know, maybe she'll be like, I've tried everything and like nothing is working. How do I get my kid back? Like, what else do I need to do?
What else can I do?
You know?
I don't know.
Wait, what was the reasoning why she gave up the baby in the Riverdale?
Because she had to become La Llorona.
Why did she have to become La Llorona?
Because the whole idea is that the ghoulie mom put the curse on her and she's never going to rest until she gets baby Anthony, essentially. So she made a deal with La Llorona to say, I will become the new La Llorona so your soul can be set free and I will become the new one. And I think Kevin does take the baby.
Yeah, I think so.
In that story. So
yeah. Okay, there's something there.
She's giving up like her. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see how it all kind of falls together. Speaking of which, Tony gets her baby back from Kevin in this moment. But then he kind of backhand slaps her and says, by the way, I am also filing for custody of baby Anthony. I was very angry.
Tabitha's face was like that gif. She was like,
oh yeah, I was fucking so frustrated with the whole situation. I'm like, this fucking bitch. After the whole episode, he still feels the same way.
If he had just said, look, like things don't really seem solid right now. Like, do you want me to take him on like full time? Or maybe we should just like share him like more, like he's like, you know, I just want the baby. Like the approach was just very wrong, because I do think ultimately like he did make a point. Like he's like, okay, like your baby daddy was holding like a bag of guns in your house. Like that might not be the safest thing.
Right.
But like the approach was like so shady. Like you don't just take the baby away from his mom.
I just wish that I don't know what they're gonna do with Kevin's character, honestly. Like, and at this point in time, because they've given him so much airtime and so much random story, I really am intrigued to see what they want to do with him. Is he gonna be this sacrificial?
You know, I'm not gonna do anything.
You're
He's literally gonna be a waste man from start to finish.
I don't want
That's
that.
it.
I don't want that. He's so annoying. I can't deal with him. I can't fucking deal
Like,
with his
who's he
character
gonna raise the
anymore.
baby with? He's literally a cop now.
He's
Like, you don't
useless.
have anyone to,
He's
like,
useless.
you're gonna be working all the time.
What happened to him in Riverdale? He went on Broadway. He sold his soul to the devil, right?
Yeah.
Like, he sold his soul to the devil. He ended up back with fangs, but I don't really quite remember what happens to him at the very end of it all. I think he just like does that. So maybe we can still hope. We can also hope that Kevin will still leave and never come back and go on
at
Broadway,
this point,
and
even
it.
him and Fangs aren't anything. Like, I don't see anything. I don't even see them
There
working
is
out in the future.
after
Nothing.
this, there's no freaking way
No.
that Fangs would be okay
No.
with getting back with Kevin. Like, it's over. Kevin's useless. I hate him. So anyway, it cuts to Reggie walking in to see his dad playing poker at the car dealership. And it cuts to a scene, and it doesn't really tell us like when it happened, but we're to assume that it happened like a while ago.
Yeah.
And Reggie's talking to the doctor and asking like how he's doing, and she's like, it's not doing like it's going well. He like recovered, but
He's going to die.
He needs a transplant, and he's not going to make it in time. So he only has like a year to live. And I'm wondering if this happened, like this scene is from like when he walked in like weeks ago and he had the heart attack, that like he comes in and Reggie like talks to Veronica. She's like, how's he doing? And he's like, he's great. He's doing great. He's going to make a full recovery. I'm so grateful. Remember? And then that whole storyline with like her dad dying and like her lying about her dad. It happened in that moment when he came back from the hospital and he learned, and he was lying to her about that from even back then.
Maybe.
Like, I would like to know, like,
I don't think they thought that out.
Is.
I think I know what you're saying. I feel like they didn't think that through.
Yeah.
They were just like, add a scene here and make it look like he knew this from before.
For sure. I wish that they showed like the rest of it. Like, it was very emotional. Obviously, we love
his
Charles
acting
Melton.
Was so good. Yeah.
He's perfected the single tear down the face. Like, he's so good at it. But yeah, it was a really sad, and like we kind of understand now where Reggie's coming from, why he's trying to protect his dad and let him like live his best life right now. It's because he's dying. But like I said, going all the way back to, if you're with your spouse, or if you're with your partner, if you're with the person that you're both running a business and that's your girlfriend, you would think after all they've been through that you would at least divulge a little bit of this information so you could resolve it together, figure it out together. Because she would have been like, go do your thing.
Exactly.
Like, I will let him take it. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's not like she's like this.
Like, give him fake like, chips and let him let him gamble all day. You know?
She would have done anything for that situation. So the fact that he didn't trust her is weird.
It was a weird thing to lie about. I just feel like at this stage in the game, like there's so many things to lie about.
I feel like the writers just want them to fall apart because there's no other reason why they would. Okay. Cutting to Betty getting a call from Dr. Curdle Jr. And something is off about these ghoulie bodies. So he tells her, by the way, we were told that the sheriff and all the policemen, there was a gunfight, but there was no gunfight. Turns out all the ghoulies' wounds were self-inflicted. So now Betty's like, oh, snap. Somebody told them to kill themselves.
Yeah.
This is a serious situation. Cuts to Cheryl and Nana and Britta. And the Julian doll got a makeover, and now it is Abigail. She's got a nice lace front wig on. She's good to go.
What did you think about the glow up?
I was like, work, girl, fine. I didn't understand this like change in like, why are we bringing the doll back? Like, it was all very confusing.
Weird.
It's obviously just like ominous. It's very like that like Annabelle doll. Remember that Annabelle doll that like from those movies, The Conjuring or whatever, like all those like scary movies that came out.
You know,
it's the same idea.
Movies. Yeah.
Yes. So like in the case, like same idea, like Abigail's in there, and Cheryl says we need to like light these candles and keep them lit to like keep an eye over her. And I wrote down the question, is this all over? Obviously, based on what we've been saying, it's probably not over. I want it to be over so badly because I'm so over this story.
Is it gonna be like Chucky now? Like the doll's gonna be like moving around the house,
but like we literally had Julian as the doll.
That's true.
I mean, it wasn't actually moving around. It was Penelope trying to make her go crazy, but like, how could we forget?
Yeah.
But this is gonna be now a real possessed doll, which I'm like, Why are we doing this? I don't
know. I hope it's not. I don't know.
But to
I
your
really
point,
hope
if
they're
Sabrina
tricking us.
But if Sabrina is coming back, then there does have to be some sort of unleashing of
No,
this
for sure. But like
against
what
the
I'm thinking
town,
is like it's really not Cheryl anymore. Like it's like she's lying that it's her. Do you know what I
it's
mean?
like switch.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I'm
she's
hoping for.
pretended.
She's pretending. Yeah.
Got it. I'd like to see if
She's
that
like,
is
it worked. I'm Cheryl now.
She's like, hi guys, I'm not gonna try to kill anybody for real. I'll do it in secret. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe it isn't.
I would
case.
like
That's
that, but
that'd be cool.
You know,
it's Riverdale.
Yeah.
Final scene is Betty, Jughead, and Archie talking again. Final kind of like moment, and Archie's like, maybe what he's doing is like more nefarious than just trying to save the town. I think they're trying to destroy the town.
It took them like a whole episode to like
whole
get to this
episode.
Point. He's like, wait, guys, I think he's trying to ruin the town.
Like, guys, we already were here like 3 episodes ago. Like, why are we still talking? I think he's really evil. Oh, I think he's really evil.
I mean, from the outside, it does maybe look like he might just be trying to like redo Riverdale, like bring it back to like a safe town.
But he's doing it obviously in the wrong ways. So they should
like,
already be like pulling red flags, being like he's doing shady shit. There was art, like, I mean, this was the big turn of events, I think, like the fact that like all these ghouly bodies were self-inflicted, which means that he persuaded them all 100%. To kill themselves. 100%. So now Betty's like, oh shit, like he's like basically a serial killer. He's like forget like villain. Forget what his motives are. He's a killer. Like he's
what I appreciated from this scene too is that they talk about their abilities. They're like, wait, so the explosion like triggered our abilities. So how the hell did he get his abilities? If ours came from this house and this explosion, where did his come from? And that to me is a bit more intriguing because I'm like, okay, now let's focus on how the hell did he get hit? Who is this guy, and how did he get his abilities? Do you think he could have been near the house? Huh?
I can't believe we're talking about this right now. Sometimes I'm sitting here and be like, we're talking about superpowers.
I know. But that's sort of like the answer that I hope next week they sort of like get to more of like, where did he get his abilities? A part of me was like, was he near the house too? Like when it exploded? But I'm like, I don't think that would have been the case. Like,
I think we talked about this like way back when he was first introduced. Like maybe there has something to do with the fact that like something was triggered. Like maybe he is like some weird scientist who has like a radar and he found this like, you know, like when the explosion happened,
I think that's probably what it is.
Radar, and he was like, I need to get there because that's where other magic lies, and maybe the same thing happened to him somewhere else
in England because that makes like his accent too. It makes sense for his accent.
I don't freaking know what his situation is. Like it'll be interesting to see like what his answer is. They always, I mean, I can't say that they always do, but they sometimes like muddle up the ending, as we know,
they do,
like the finales. So I'm interested to see
what
his answer is.
Having said that, I am enjoying it. Like so far, like I am enjoying this villain. So like I'm okay with it.
It's very different from
better than the Gargoyle King.
Let's be real. The Gargoyle King. Yeah, exactly. The Gargoyle Queen. All right. That was the episode. Let's get into our recap roundups.
Let's do it.
Recap roundups.
Best moment. My best moment, well, I think it goes to that moment with Britta and Jughead and how she was like freaking out and he was like, don't say it.
Just think it.
And she was like, I was like, okay, that's a cute scene. I just like to see the ability sort of like in action and like working. And it seems like really all of theirs are pretty like
his is pretty active though,
but his is good. Yeah, like he's using his more than I feel like the other two are. But I did appreciate that moment.
Yeah, I like that too. My best moment is going to Tony live streaming the gunfight. I thought that was like in a time where 100%. You feel like all your chips are down. She was smart enough to like do that, and I felt like it was a great parallel to like real world issues.
Yeah,
and I just thought it was a great moment to like literally give the middle finger up to like that whole situation.
Yeah,
and stare at him dead in the face and be like, "Go fuck yourself! Like you're not gonna catch me."
WTF moment.
WTF moment is gonna go to the Colonel ending when he was like, but they shot themselves. Like the way he says it is always like so dramatic. Because I was gagged. I was like, oh my god, like that actually happened. He told them to kill themselves.
That's like
that's major.
Quite extreme. Quite extreme.
That one got me at the end.
Yeah, for sure. Mine's gonna go to Abigail going into the doll, because we don't really know like if that is the case, and to your point, like maybe that isn't the case and maybe it is still Cheryl going into the doll, who knows. But also I was just like, are we seriously talking about a possessed doll again?
I know,
like for the fourth time in this show. Like, that's
why I'm really hoping it's not that, and like the camera was just sort of like leading us to believe that maybe for like a week until next week. But
yeah. Give us a week. Give us a week.
Like, no, but I'm not down for that.
We're literally like in Passion's territory at this point in this show. Like, let's just like talk about
we've
the
already
fact
been
that,
there.
We jumped the shark a long
fucking
time ago. And I will say also the WTF moment that I want to call out is that deja vu moment that Tony had, because I want to know if there's we're gonna have more of those moments with,
I
to
love
your point,
that.
Other characters making those connections. And maybe that is when Sabrina comes in, because she's like, by the way, the whole world is like separating or like falling apart, which is what we said last time. We were like, oh, maybe she's gonna talk about how the world is split and blah blah blah. Maybe there is something that she's gonna bring into Riverdale for that reason alone. Maybe it's not gonna be for a transference, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you watch WandaVision?
No, not yet.
So I feel like they watched that and they copied it.
Some like angle to it.
They copied it because it's the town, and it's almost like things are being sucked towards the town.
Right.
And maybe that explains Percival. Like maybe he's being sucked towards like Riverdale. Like that's why
like
he
a vortex.
Came. Like I feel like they watched it and they copied that storyline.
Got it.
For this season. Yeah. So maybe to your point, like the whole Sabrina thing, like she could be like the world is like sort of like coming in on itself, collapsing
into itself. Yeah.
Like maybe. Towards Riverdale or something. I don't know.
We shall see.
MVP.
My MVP is gonna go to Tony. And I didn't want to choose her because I figured like, you know, you would choose her and a lot of our listeners would, but you can't deny it. Like she's been amazing. The fact that she stood up there and like said everything that she's done and like what she's done for Riverdale and who she is, it just like confirms to us as viewers too. Like she started off as like a nobody almost, and to see her now almost like the core 4 level, like it's amazing.
She's definitely my MVP too. I totally agree with everything that you just said. So nothing else to say outside of like, I love her as a character. I love her as an actor. I love what they're giving her. I think more than anything else, I love
Vanessa Morgan.
They've given her so much great content.
They have
for this character. Like she's a mom now, but she's a gang member, but she's also, anyway, she's amazing. You know,
so many, and I hate to say this, but so many, sometimes when you create that mother sort of role or the pregnant role, it kind of like fizzles out the character a little bit.
100%.
But hers was literally accentuated when that all happened, and like they made it work. And that's why when I look at a character like Tony, I know they can write good characters. I know they can because they have. But then they butcher characters like Veronica and Kevin. And like Veronica, I'm saying because like she is a main character, but like they butcher, but like they can do good. They've
100%. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Tony.
LVP.
So my LVP obviously was Kevin. I'm not going to choose Kevin because I'll let you speak to that. But I'm going to say Reggie, and not because of like the storyline necessarily, or like his acting was amazing. So for Charles Moulton, like I love him and he's amazing. It was more of just like, I don't understand like why this storyline is happening right now. I don't understand why it's so important. Like why is he lying to Veronica about everything?
Right.
It's just like a weird sort of shift over, and every time they cut back to their scenes, I'm like, ugh, like I find myself being like, ugh, like
not exciting.
Whereas before, like it was like Reggie and Veronica were so exciting. So a little bit of that for me is why I chose him for the LVP this week.
And to your point, like the lying thing is not necessary, but he's doing it anyway, and it's just like, okay, I guess this is the writers just trying to cut them out. But it's unfortunate. My LVP is Kevin, like you said, for obvious reasons. I don't even want to get into it again, but he's garbage. Hate him.
Okay, but having said that, if you later found out that Percival was telling him to do all these things, would you forgive him?
I would forgive him, but I would not forgive the writers ever again for the fact that they gave him another storyline where he was a gullible idiot, because he's been a gullible idiot.
Yeah. Like when is he ever going to be the hero,
series. Yeah, he's never done anything that's made me feel good about it. Even this whole situation where Tabitha overheard him talk. It's not like he had a weak moment in the sheriff's office and is like, listen, Tabitha, I know that like, you know, we're not really talking right now, but they're about to shoot up the fucking serpents and I'm really worried about that. Like, can you go call in? She had to do that. Like, she did that. He didn't even save them in that situation.
Yeah.
So I can't even look at Kevin and be like, well, at least you tried to save them. Like, you know, you weren't all bad this episode.
No.
Like, that wasn't even a redeeming part for this episode. So I'm just like, I'm over him just being a shitty written character. And I don't care how much shit I get from the fucking writers. I don't care what you guys say, because that is exactly what you're doing to his character. He is so problematic for so many reasons, and you don't want to root for him. And it's just unfortunate because as Casey caught, I would have been like, I'm done doing the show.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on Broadway and I do not want to fucking do this anymore.
I think
my singing voice is better than this shitty storyline that you keep giving.
I guess I had posted like I was like, goodbye Kevin on our Instagram, and someone commented being like, paycheck, because like it's true, like maybe he's just hanging around for the paycheck, because like, which is
fine, do your thing, but like your integrity as a fucking character is garbage. Like, it's embarrassing. And I just don't think that his I don't
do you think, and I don't want to spend so much time, I know we always like, you know, go deep, but do you feel like some of the anger comes from like, because he is part of like the gay community and like his representation on this show, it's just like, bruh, like why are you so waste though? Like at every corner you're a waste man.
100%. I mean, I don't think that it's all just that. I think it doesn't help that, you know, you have this person who's supposed to represent your community and like they're being fucking
and then on top of that, he's taking a baby from another gay couple. So it's like, like
it just doesn't look good. Like him as a person, him as a character, you as a white fucking privileged gay man.
Yeah.
You're problematic to begin with, bitch. Like,
and you're taking a baby from like
a colored, you know, like all of that shit is just not cool. And like, I'm not even joking when there comes to hierarchy, not to get into the politics of it all, but when there comes to a hierarchy of the gay community, the white gay men are the ones who are at the top always. Look at the people in our society right now. They are always going to be at the top because they had the privilege to get there. So when you look at the storyline and you want to like look at Kevin and root for him even as a gay character, but strip away the gay character, he's just problematic. And it just makes me so angry that they created this character who might as well be the villain toward like Archie. Archie's a better character, or anybody's a better character than Kevin. But like, if you look at them as like foils to each other, Kevin is like the opposite. Like, and I don't know why, how did we get here after 6 seasons of this character? We had him since the beginning. He didn't even come in like Tony. Like, to your point of Tony like having this amazing glow up, she had less screen time and still got this amazing story. And every fucking season we've been getting Kevin and it's shit storyline. He does something stupid, he has a redeeming moment, but he does something stupid. Why? Why? It doesn't make sense to me.
And they never give him like a moment of like, you did this, you did it, good job, Kevin. They never do. If they have, I don't remember it, because it's probably like one moment, you know. And I just think like, if you're gonna be a villain, like be that character, but he's not that either. So he's somewhere in the middle. He can't be on either side. He's just lost. He's always been a lost character. And when I say he, I don't mean like Kevin. I mean the writers writing for Kevin.
Yeah,
it's like they don't know like where to like put him.
Yeah, for sure. It's just disappointing. Anyways. Because if he's not this gossipy girl that like,
or like going to Fox Forest all the time, like,
and goes to Fox Forest, or wants to watch Hermione like do her Real Housewives episode, like he's that was so random loser character. Like,
when you said that, I was like, enjoyable. Good job that you said that, because you were like, he's just sitting there like, where have you been?
Like, in why do you have to be this stereotype?
He's like, I love Bravo. Like, okay,
I love Andy Cohen. Like, get over yourself, loser.
It's not funny anymore. Like, maybe for like a minute for season 1 it was cute and funny, but like, it's not funny anymore. Like, just grow as a person, as a character, grow.
And the sad
Broadway.
situation is the fact that like, there is no redeeming situation. That I don't even know what I want from him at this point. I don't know. I really don't know.
Even when he was in Riverdale and he went to Broadway and we were all like, yes, Kevin, go. He had to sell his soul to go there. So like, he sold his soul to go to Broadway.
Like, you have no integrity. Like, you have
no integrity.
Like, who are you? Like,
so he couldn't make it on his own. Like, his own talent, he couldn't. He had to sell his soul.
Even killing him off, I wouldn't care. Like, there's no reason for them to even kill him off at this point, because they're going to be like, there's going to be no stakes. He's not going to do anything that's going to be redeemable or interesting for us to be like, oh, Kevin, even if, okay, before we finish off, even if he ends up being like, oh my God, I snapped out of it. I'm so sorry. I did all these fucked up things. My sacrifice is my death for you all to live a happy, enjoyable life. You were not relevant enough to even have that storyline, bitch. You were so irrelevant.
They wouldn't give it to him.
That your death would not even be like
they'd kill his dad first, probably.
Which I also hope at this case. At this point in time, he needs to die too. He's fucking.
Oh my God.
Okay. For the day.
Yeah.
That felt good.
The best line.
All right. My best line is gonna go to Betty when they're burning Cheryl, and Cheryl says, or whatever her name is,
Abigail, whatever.
Abigail. Yeah. She's like, you dare burn me again. And Betty says, as many times as it takes, bitch. It's like, anytime
like, Jesus.
Betty says bitch, it's gonna be my best line.
But okay, so really quickly going back to that whole thing with Abigail and like why she got burned, whatever. Yeah. My thing is like, why did they make her such a villain coming back and possessing the body? Why couldn't they talk her through it like they did in Riverdale? They were like, we understand her pain. Yeah. She had this trauma from in this situation. They're like, we're gonna burn you again, bitch. Like, we don't.
I guess because like she was really trying to kill them. Like they just were wasting no time.
I guess. But at the same time, just like, what happened to that beautiful story that we got from Abigail and her love story and the being
very inconsistent. It's all been very inconsistent
with how we're supposed to feel. Like, am I supposed to root for Abigail or not? Like, I guess not.
Agreed. It's just yeah.
Speaking of Abigail, my best line also goes to her when she goes, I was taking a buttermilk bath, so I could not receive him. Why for? Like, I live for her lines, and I always just wait for what she's gonna say. But saying that she's taking a buttermilk bath because she couldn't answer the door because she was taking a buttermilk bath was like
dead.
The perfect.
But also, do you wish that sometimes, because in this episode she was almost speaking like she was from like 1800s. I wish the core three were like, why are you talking like that? Like, who says words like that?
But she sounds exactly like,
I know, like
her.
She always says that, and that's the thing. Like, yeah. So, anyways,
she was perfect for possession.
Yeah.
Let's get to our listener roundup.
Let's do it. So we had one, I think this was from Twitter at CHONI5 on it. Best moment, Jughead, Betty, Archie scenes, good chemistry, 100% agreed. WTF moment, Kevin, everything regarding Kevin. I hate him so much. Oh my gosh, he's a waste man and has been in Anthony's life for 2 seconds. MVP, Vanessa Morgan's acting. Also, Cheryl/Abigail storyline was interesting and made me laugh a lot. P.S. Does anyone care for this veggie casino story? It's so far removed and boring. Even Cheryl's storyline syncs with the main one. I 100% agree with that.
That's fair.
We got some from Instagram. It's just like a mix of them. Kat says superhero trio thing was very cute and just could not stop laughing. Like tears came out. Wow.
Her tears.
She also says Tabitha to Kev calling Tony the mother of his child ... She says if I speak. I don't know what that means.
She's
pissed, I guess.
She's like, if I even say one word about this fucking guy.
She also says Mr. Pickle kind of hot. Oh.
Mr. Pickens.
Very annoying, literally everywhere, doing the most, but kind of cute too.
She's like, I'm conflicted.
Yeah, Riverdale and Rivervale meshing in ways that make me sad, but a lot of deja vu was experienced this episode.
Yeah, totally.
She also says, okay, her MVP is Tabitha for serving looks as she should. Also Betty for just taking the reins. And Kevin, unappreciated and disrespectful as always. Keep up the good work. A lot happened, intense and sad, but what remains? Archie's still a comedian and Nana Rose still here? ?
She out here still.
Yeah. And then from Sierra XN, and also another best moment, Tony's flashback to Rivervale. I was gagged.
Yeah.
A lot happened. Yeah, we got that. Best line from Sierra, don't eat that scone. Yeah, that was good too. LVP, her LVP is Kevin as always. Like, I hope he dies this season, please. For MVP is Tony and Tabitha, my fave duo. They are constantly killing it each episode. They are an amazing duo. Like I love them together.
Good. They're so good. I love them.
WTF, Kevin wanting custody. Why? I know it's Percival's doing, but he's such a waste man. Oh my god. Shout out to everyone calling Kevin a waste man.
Waste man.
Best moment when Tony recorded Percival. I love how she's challenging him. Icon behavior. Thank you guys. Those are great.
Good. I love you guys for all these roundups.
Good.
So good. All right. Well, that takes us to the end of the episode. I'd like to take this time to thank our patrons of this episode. Our Rewinder squad. We have White and Nicole. Our Lit Rewinders, Tina Ann, Soleil, and Kate. And our Mommy and Daddy Rewinders, Becca, Sarah, Tamala, Grace, and Cliff.
Thank you guys. If you would like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind.
And also make sure you're checking us out on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. You can find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes. Like, subscribe, follow, review, and comment to stay engaged with us at Recap Rewind. Thanks so much for listening. Oh,
wait. Before we go, we have 2 episodes left. I think there's next week and then a week after. And then it looks like we're on a big hiatus. So we'll see what happens with that. July 31st apparently is the slated season finale. So
okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna be another like weird season. I think they'll probably take a hiatus after April, maybe come back in like late June or something, finish off the season. I don't know how many. We're at episode 10 now.
10.
So we have like another 10 episodes.
This was 9, so next episode.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we have like another half of the season to go.
But maybe they'll do another short season.
Maybe.
We don't know.
Maybe.
We'll
okay.
see.
Anyways, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.